at least one party within the Palestinian community, namely the Christian community,
or El Adha, or during the some Christian celebrations.
your tears came down seeing the possibility of co-living.
Hello, our dear friends. Today we are going to talk to a very special person. His Grace is the former Archbishop of Anglican Church in Jerusalem, who led this church for 25 years, and now he is retired, but he still plays active role in Israeli and Palestinian, and not only, but on all region social life. Riah Abu El-Assal.
Thank you, Akmaral.
I'm so
Thank
happy
you.
to see you. Thank you for agreeing to meeting me today. So, first question I would like to ask is about the general, historical question. We all remember the Crusades. In the beginning of the times of all the conflicts on the Middle East. So some analytics even and experts say that modern conflict in Middle East, including all the wars which we witnessing in Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, and of course in Palestine, is a continuation of those crusades which took place many centuries ago. How do you think can this point of view exist?
Well, let me first greet you from Nazareth, from the city of the Annunciation, where Jesus spent most of his life. He was born in Bethlehem, but after escaping to Egypt, he came back and settled in Nazareth. And it was from Nazareth where he found his way for the mission that he took upon himself. And then he was persecuted and crucified in Jerusalem, and in our belief rose again. So this comes from the land which I call the land of the Holy One. I stopped using the word the Holy Land. The Holy Land reminds me of the land of a land with many holes. That's why I speak of it as the land of the Holy One. This is mine, and whoever uses it sometimes will have to say that this is the way Bishop Riah speaks of this land, which has witnessed wars over many centuries. As for the question about the Crusades, before the Crusades, we need to go back to what happened in the 7th century, the rise of Islam, and the way Islam with its leaders coming from Arabia, occupying and invading not only Greater Syria but also North Africa until they reach Spain. And we all know this history of religious war, which proved not to be a blessing, but as it were a curse, not only for one party, for both parties who are caught in the conflict. One of my comments recently vis-a-vis the Palestinian question, and that's what matters. I mean, we are addressing an issue today rather than reflecting on what happened over 1,000 years ago. I did say, from what happened over the last 1 year and a little more, 1.5 years, from the 7th of October, One of my comments when I was asked about the present confrontation, this bloody war, which has taken the lives of many on both sides, the Israelis and the Palestinians, I did say that the Islamicization of the Palestinian question has caused greater harm to the Palestinian cause than anything else in its history. The question of Palestine is not a religious question. For people to speak of Al-Aqsa without speaking of Jerusalem, in my view, is a serious mistake. There were days when we said Jerusalem is in danger. All of a sudden, they shifted from Jerusalem is in danger to Al-Aqsa is in danger. And I kept telling my Muslim friends, and I have many, most of the political parties that I joined or led for many, many years were most supportive to me, regardless of the fact that the Christian community is such a small community in the land of the Holy One, but they found in me a servant for this just cause, namely the right of the Palestinian people to freedom, to independence, to live a decent life side by side in peace, certainly, with the Israelis. Both communities have been caught in this conflict ever since the Balfour
the
Declaration,
beginning
which
of
is
the beginning
over
of the
over
last
100
century.
years now. So for people to say this is an ongoing religious war from the Crusades up till now, no, because we don't see any intervention in the lives of the people of North Africa, Algiers, Morocco, Libya, even now today, Egypt. I mean, it's the cause for all of this conflict is what happened in 1917 with the Balfour Declaration from the British vis-a-vis the Palestinians and the Israelis. Neither party are 100% happy about the consequences of what happened since, as I said, over 100 years. This is a political question as far as I can tell, and I will continue to say what I said to the then Prime Minister Tony Blair on the 18th of February 2003, when with three other bishops we met with him in London, and we tried to convince him not to go to Iraq for war. And he turned to me and said, we are going to war against Iraq to pave the way for peace in the Middle East. When my turn came to respond, all I said to him, Mr. Prime Minister, the shortest route to Baghdad goes through Jerusalem. Once peace comes to Jerusalem, peace will come to the whole world. He kind of smiled, but did not accept what I said. I met with the then Prime Minister a number of times, and he came also to visit in Nazareth. And I reminded him of what I said to him. And I could tell from the way he responded to me that certainly he messed up with himself and messed up with the Middle East and the millions of children and adults who suffered in Iraq. He holds that injustice, as it were, done to the people there. I told him, come and let's resolve the question which is taking the attention of the international community. In the United Nations, the Americans, the British, the Europeans, the Russians, all are focused on this little place called the so-called Holy Land, which I speak of as the land of the Holy One. So religion has done great harm to many in the world. People have suffered as a result of the misuse and the abuse of religion. And I speak as a person who is in the ministry, leading for many, many years. In fact, I served the church for 43 years, not 25, for 43 years. But I have not been the bishop for 43 years. As you know, you start as a deacon and then as a priest, as a pastor, etc., etc. But I never tried to use religion to achieve a political goal.
It's about
No way.
you. It's about you. But we know that many politicians, for the years, almost for 1 century already, they used the cause of the creating of Israeli state on the Middle East as a narrative. So they used also the religion, and you never used the religion, I know, as a political tool, but maybe in this meaning, we know that politicians they used this idea to conquer Middle East and use this idea of creation of Zionist state in Middle East. I also have many Lebanese, Syrian, Palestinian, Israeli friends. And it's exactly, they say it can be said the modern crusaders will from the West imposed on our region, including evangelic Christians from United States. For example, I have one German friend. He was born and he grew up in America, in USA, and once in his young age, he visited his grandparents in Germany. And when he opened the Bible of his grandparents, he was shocked. I have the pictures. He sent me the pictures. It was a very old Bible. When he opened it and he saw the map, and he saw the land called Palestine, which doesn't exist in the modern versions of the Bible. He said, like, in the branch of the Christendom, which, like we believe in USA, we don't have. Palestine even doesn't mentioned in the Bible. So how you can reply on this question?
I'm a student of the Bible. I mean, I did study the Bible. I've been reading the Bible for so many years.
Of course.
And the Palestinians, the Philistines, as we are called, are mentioned. I don't know how many times in the Bible. So many times I cannot count them.
It's the same people.
Well, it depends on how you use your Greek, how you use your Arabic, how you use your Hebrew, how you use your English. Now, the Philistines in biblical history are also known to be Greeks from Crete. In the Bible, in the book of the prophet Amos, there is a mention of the 5 Palestinian or Philistines cities, one of which is Gaza, one of which is Ashkelon, one of which is Ashdod, one of which is Gath. There are 5 cities mentioned in his book, the book of the prophet Amos. So nobody can simply deny the mention of the Palestinians, because in Arabic, Palestine is used in Arabic and in biblical the same word. Philistines, Palestine in Arabic.
There is no letter P in Arabic language.
No, we don't have it.
Yeah.
We don't have Palestine in Arabic. We have Palestine in Arabic, which is the Philistines, as mentioned in the Bible. So for anybody to simply ignore that such a community is not mentioned, makes of himself, I'm sorry to say it, makes him of himself a fool. The question now, it's not that the Palestinians or the Philistines were mentioned or not mentioned. The question of religion, the use and misuse and the abuse of religion in present day times causes the death and the bloody conflict in the land we call holy. That's how I view it. Now, for some people to say that this is the result of the evangelicals, where were the evangelicals when Napoleon came? Why? I mean, Napoleon came to Palestine, and he could not conquer, for example, Acre, and that's why he left back from where he came. The British were not here in 1823. There was in Europe, especially in Europe, the rise of a theology or an understanding that we are approaching the year 2000, and in the year 2000 will witness the end of times, and the end of times will witness the coming back of Jesus Christ. So those evangelicals in Europe and in America preached the second coming of Jesus, and people started coming and forming different communities, not only Catholics or Orthodox, because Catholics and Orthodox were already here, but many evangelicals who believed and continue to believe that Jesus will come, as it were, soon, and therefore we need to fulfill the prophecies that he will not come until all the Jews in the world will return to Palestine. Now, those who persecuted the Jewish community in Germany did not have this in their mind. I don't think it was a naughty religious kind of reaction to the Jewish community in Germany, and no one with common sense will justify what happened to the Jews in Europe. I, as a Palestinian, I could never justify what happened to the Jewish community. On the contrary, some of us were on their side, the right to have and lead a life with dignity, like the rest of us human beings. But what the West discovered quite late in 1890s, 1880s, 1870s maybe, what we call the black gold, oil. And they had a good excuse to come and
To extract the
find their
oil.
way and occupy and then lead, and then, as I said, use and misuse the religious side of this ongoing conflict.
So both parties, both sides are using the religion just for some political or commercial interests.
100%. That's why I said in my early comment that, in my opinion, the Islamicization of the Palestinian cause caused greater harm to the Palestinian cause than any other aspect. The Palestinian question is not a religious question. Not all Palestinians are religious people. Not all Israelis are religious people.
And
In
not
fact,
all Palestinian people are Muslims also, like you, as
well,
yourself.
the Palestinians in their majority are Muslims,
But
but there is a minority of Christians. We trace our background to 2,000 years ago. In my book, I don't know whether I sent you a copy. My book, Caught in Between, what the publishers wrote about it, I gave the title only, Caught in Between. They gave the comment, the extraordinary story of an Arab, Palestinian, Christian, Israeli. An Arab who's not a Muslim. In the mind of many in the West, every Arab is a Muslim. I'm an Arab, but I'm not a Muslim. Every Palestinian in some parts of the West is a terrorist, and I'm not a terrorist. Every Christian is thought to be Italiano, maybe Russian, maybe American, maybe British. But I'm a Christian who's not an Italiano and who's not a Greek and who is not a Russian. I am a Palestinian Christian, and I'm an Israeli also. After Israel became what it became in 1948, Arabs who remained in what became Israel became Israelis. But in the mind of many in the world, when you say I come from Israel, they used to ask me, when did you convert to Christianity? Because they thought every Israeli is a Jew. Not every Israeli is a Jew. There are 1.7 million Arab Palestinians who are Israeli citizens. Some of them are Christians and some of them are Muslims. And from among both communities, they care less about religion. They are ready, and a number of them, like the Communist Party, like the progressive movement, which I led, a community of both Arabs and Jews, Palestinians and Israelis, joining hands together and fighting for equality, fighting for the right of both communities to live side by side in peace, certainly peace that is established on justice and on truth. Coming to this point, rather than continue to speak of a crusade, it's not a crusade. A crusade with the Americans and the British and the French and the Italian. I mean, they need somebody to preach to them today. Not all of them are 100% Christians. Many of them are nominal Christians. The same is true with the Christian community here, or many who are born in a Muslim family, but they care less about Islam. Not all Muslims are committed Muslims. Not all Christians are committed Christians. Why allow religion to cause the death, the killing? When I heard people killing and slaughtering others and saying in the name of Allah, as an Arab Palestinian, it shocked me. Why would you use religion? This is not a religious conflict. This is a national conflict between Palestinians and Israelis.
Exactly.
And when the United Nations spoke about partitioning Palestine, they did not say that this will be divided between Muslims, Christians, and Jews. They say between Arabs and Jews, between Palestinians and Israelis. And we need to focus on Palestinian and Israeli rather than on Jewish, Muslim, Christian, and atheist.
Absolutely agree with you because I have been in Syria many times, and I saw these churches which located next to the mosque, Even in the old Damascus, I was told that mosque and church, they have one generator, electricity generator,
Yes.
for both. And during, for example, the shortcuts of electricity, there wasn't electricity actually. They had lack of electricity, and still have. So during some celebrations, for example, during the Ramadan, Eid al-Fitr or Eid al-Adha, or during the some Christian celebrations, for example, mosque would switch on the electricity in their building, the Muslims, to allow all the light to go to the church, and vice versa. Also, for example, when there are a lot of Muslims who come to pray during the namaz or something celebration, and if they don't have place on a square around the mosque, church opens the door so they could enter and pray on the territory of the church. The same in Lebanon. I also remember I was there in 2011, and it was very early morning, and I entered the mosque. Nobody was there, only me. But all the windows in the mosque were opened. And this time, the bells on the church, which is next to the mosque, started to play. And it was such amazing feeling. I really was feeling something holy, sitting in the Muslim mosque and hearing the Christian bells playing. It was amazing feeling really. But now, what we see now, also after the war, I was in Malula, in Sydney, and I saw those monks, nuns actually, which were captured by Daesh for 2 or 3 years, and they asked me, where is Christendom? Where is Christendom? We were left. So you know that before the war in Syria, there was 10% of Christians, and Lebanon 20%. So now, of course, they all had to flee. They left, like, caring for their lives. And the same happens now in Palestine. So, of course, you're right. Like stories which you are telling now, they all mean that religion just used for the political purpose. So, but let's us to come back to our reality. The ceasefire was reached and lasted for 45 days. It was the first phase of the 3 phases which parties agreed, and it was exchanging of the prisoners, of the hostages. But as soon ceasefire, this first phase of ceasefire was ended, so fire started immediately. I read that I have read that some areas of Israel was bombed or was targeted by the missiles, and also Israeli forces destroyed 11 houses in the West Bank. So what is the way? I think that to keep this, to preserve and to complete ceasefire is a very, very, very important to follow this agreement. So, is there ways to do that? On your opinion, how do you think?
Okay, let me share with you a bit when you mentioned the question of Christian-Muslim relationship. I ran for parliament in 1984. I didn't want to become a member because I was the Secretary General of our political party, which was an Arab, Jewish, Palestinian, Israeli party. I was the Secretary General for at least 10 years. When I was asked to lead in what is known as the triangle area is exclusively Muslim, Islamic, not one Christian family. And I used to go, I was a priest, not a bishop, with my black suit and my color. And I had the Muslims, when another member running for parliament for the Knesset in Israel, whispering or distributing leaflets calling on the Muslims, hey, Riah is a Christian. You should vote for those who say there is no God but Allah. So I took the leaflet that he distributed, and in one place in the triangle, I raised it and I said, what do you say? And their response was, with Muslim votes, we will bring the first Christian priest into the Israeli Jewish parliament. That was the relationship between us. I'm talking in 1984. Now, coming back to what is happening in Gaza today, and the renewal of the conflict. It's a tricky situation between the Israelis and the Palestinians. It's in fact not the Palestinians, because not all the Palestinians were in agreement with Hamas. Hamas, had it been had they emphasized the Palestinian side of their understanding of their fighting, they would have had a greater support from the international community. But Hamas is an Islamic. It's an Islamic movement. And now it caused people in the world to target the Islamic side of it, not the people who are basically Palestinians, but the Islam in Hamas, the Islamic side in their existence as a party, as a political party. But it's not only a political party; it's more than a political party. It's a military group. With certainly they have their agenda. But suppose what the others are saying. In what way even this group caused real harm to Christian presence in the land where Christianity was founded? In Bethlehem, Christians used to make 80 to 90% of the population. Today, they are less than 20%. Most of them immigrated to Chile. Why? Converting a political question into a religious question threatens the existence and the presence of Christian minorities in this city or that city, or in the country at large. So coming back to what is happening now, Will there be an end to the ongoing conflict in Gaza? Where are we heading? I mean, today I read what commentators from Palestine, not from Egypt, not from Syria, not from Kazakhstan, from Palestine, commenting on what happened and who is responsible for what happened. Not all Palestinians are in agreement with Hamas. The leadership has a different opinion on how to handle the situation. Now, if we continue to use religion to achieve a political end, in my opinion, at least one party within the Palestinian community, namely the Christian community, the least they will do, they will desert the country. They will immigrate. And for the Christian Palestinian community to immigrate from Palestine will not serve the Palestinian cause. It will harm the Palestinian cause. The Christians, or the Palestinian Christians, are more Palestinians than the others. But for somebody to say that this is a religious war causes people to be reminded of what you tried to speak of when we started this conversation.
So
As
do
if
you,
this is a crusade. This is not a crusade. This is not a religious war. There is a religious side. There is a religious dimension to the conflict.
yes, from both sides.
Don't view it as a religious question. We don't. The Palestinian Christians say, we Palestinians, some of us are Christians, some of us are Muslims, some of us are Jews. There are Jews who call themselves Palestinians. And if we allowed it to be a political, not a religious conflict, it would have been much easier to find a way to settle this conflict. It does not serve Islam, it does not serve Christianity, it does not serve Judaism. On the contrary, the rise of anti-Semitism becomes anti-Jewish, not only anti-Semitic. And Semitism, when you speak Semites, I am a Semite also. Being a Palestinian, we are Semites. The Syrians are Semites. The Lebanese are Semites. So it's not only the Jews who are Semites. So this question of the religious dimension, in my opinion, and I say it humbly, did cause greater harm to the cause of peacemaking, to the cause of reconciliation. Okay, not one of us, not you, not me, when you were born, when I was born, chose to be what I became. You were born a Kazakhstani. I was born a Palestinian. He was born an Israeli. The other is born an American. But at the same time, some of us are born in a Muslim family and we became Muslims whether we liked it or not. And some of us were born in a Christian family and they became Christians whether they like it or not, whether they practice it or not. Why continue to exploit the religious dimension to find a solution for a political question? In my opinion, we need to address the possibility of co-living and not coexisting. People are speaking about let the Palestinians have a peace and the Israelis have a peace. This is what we call coexistence. I'm not for coexistence. I am for co-living. Both are entitled to lead life with dignity, to lead life with peace and understanding and appreciating the otherness in the other.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. And I know that you are like whole your life you dedicated to achieving a peace.
And I suffered. I was banned from travel for 4 years.
I remember that.
Israel banned my travel because I dared to speak the truth in a manner different from Hamas would speak. Different. I mean, okay, everyone is entitled or has the right to spell out his mind, provided when you spell your mind, you do not do the harm that you do not intend to do, but you do it. You do it. I continue to say religion is not meant to do harm. You become a religious person if you really believe in God. God is the author of truth. God is the mind behind justice, behind peace. In Islam, you say Assalamu alaikum. In Christianity, we say peace. Whenever I write to you, I say peace, salam. The same in English, the same in Arabic, the same in Kazakhstan. Okay, if you spell it out, live it, live up to it. Otherwise, stop using the word salam because you're messing up with it. That's how I view the situation. Or when people use the term Allah, how many people were killed in Syria and in Iraq and other places in the name of Allah? Allah is the God of mercy. Allah is the God of love. He created you and created me. Now, if we choose, we cannot put the blame on Allah. You cannot put the blame on Allah. And that's why I say, keep your religion to yourself. Take what is positive in it. Take what leads to co-living, not coexistence. To exist and someone beside me as a neighbor and I pretend not to see him every morning is very serious. But co-living, we need to live. We need to lead a life that is worth living. This brings me to what you asked about the war in Gaza. If I were in the lead, when one of those Jewish armed people was caught in Gaza, an individual, which caused Israel to set free thousands of prisoners, Palestinian prisoners. If I were to speak to those in Gaza, why should you keep those infants? Why should you keep those old people? I mean, you have some in the army, keep them and continue to debate and argue and try to get as many of your Palestinians out. But this reflected negatively on us. It reflected negatively and gave or justified the bloody response from Israel on Gaza. What is happening now in Gaza? People living thousands of miles away in your country or in America, they don't know what is happening. The media, do you think the media is truthful? Do they share the truth about the situation? No. Where is the international community? In what way? Why should we continue to expect from others to lead us to peace when both of us can live in peace? That as long as we say, and I want to come back because this is very, very important. I continue to speak and I am interviewed on the TV in Nazareth. I tell them about the religious dimension, that this has caused greater messing with the Palestinian cause than anything else. When you make it a religious cause rather than a national cause.
Thank you for your passionate reply. But the main reason that people who are occupying the Palestinian territory, Israel, in pretext of self-defense, destroyed Gaza completely, almost, especially the north. Also now they're continuing the war in West Bank. So, there is a resolution, the resolution of Security Council, that two states have to be created, Palestinian and Jewish. We have Yaakov Kedmi, the former head of some security services. He speaks Russian, so I listen to him very often. He said that Hamas was created from the agreement of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. He agreed to create Hamas just to divide to the Organization of Palestinian Resistance. International Criminal Court recognized Benjamin Netanyahu as a war criminal and issued the warrant for his arrest. But many European governments and American government back him, despite that almost 50,000 Palestinians are killed already. Also, a lot of Israelis are killed already. But what we should do, like international community, as the people who are passionate to see this decision completed of the creation of the two states, people who not ignorant for the death of the ordinary people in the Middle East, what should we do, for what we should advocate to change the situation, just to stop this death, these killings, this genocide, this ethnic cleansing which happens in Gaza?
Well, going back to whoever began this, it's neither the Jew nor the Palestinian who were behind the partition of Palestine. It's the European
Colonialism.
Thank you. They were behind it. And now it is left to the wise among the two communities to say goodbye to the colonialists, to those who had a completely different interest in coming to the Middle East. They are not interested in sand or in water. They are interested in gas and in oil and in gold. For the wise among us, and that's why, and I say it humbly, and I have already finished writing my memoirs, and I have a chapter about my little contribution to making of peace, which the late President Arafat, accepted when I said to him years ago, in 1986, I said, let's invite 5 Palestinian musicians to meet with 5 Israeli musicians somewhere in Vienna. I will organize this. I want the international community to view us as equal human beings. From among our people, we have musicians, we have architects, we have engineers, we have poets, we have etc., etc. In 85, he thought I'm a little knucklehead. You're talking about, what are you talking about music? We're at war. In 86, he accepted it. I was placed under country arrest for 4 years. They stopped me from traveling abroad from 86 until 90. When I was allowed to travel, I traveled to Norway to thank the Minister for Foreign Affairs who adopted the invitation of a Christian community in Norway to thank him. And when he asked me, what is on your mind now, after thanking him, I said, I wanted to invite Arafat and an Israeli leader for dinner in Oslo. He thought I was a fool. But I say it humbly. I was the first to be invited back to Oslo to say thank you to Terry Larson for bringing the two groups, the Palestinians and the Israelis, in Oslo. And I was witness to see Arafat, Peres, and Rabin, each one of them holding something in his hand. Arafat, a glass of milk, and Peres, a glass of wine, and Rabin, a glass of Scotch whiskey. Witnessed by us at the Grand Hotel in Oslo before going to receive the Nobel Peace Prize. You could not but your tears came down seeing the possibility of co-living. Only those people, rather than accepting the partition, accept that we will continue to live side by side, and we need to teach and educate our children how to live side by side, not only as Christian, Muslim, and Jew, but as equal human beings, as Palestinians and Israelis. Today, if people ask me, how do you view the future? And I say, let there be a federation between the Palestinian and the Israeli for 20-25 years. And let's learn how to live side by side in peace. Let's learn. I mean, the Palestinians are quite equipped with education. From among our people, could lead and have the ability and the mind and the spirit also to lead towards that. And let's look to the day when Jerusalem becomes not only the capital of Palestine, the capital of Israel, but the capital of the world, as a city of peace. I wish the international community, rather than feeding this side and that side with weapons, feed them with enough knowledge how to live side by side, rather than giving them the means to destroy each other. Every human being is precious to his or her family, be he a Palestinian or an Israeli. The Israelis are human beings. The Palestinians are human beings. If we can view the other as a brother or sister in humanity, then the way will be wide open for reconciliation and for peace on the basis of truth and justice. This is how I spend my life, irrespective of the harm of the problems I faced over the last 40 years, 50 years, 60 years, I don't know.
Thank
I will
you.
continue to fight for that. And I hope that I live to see it. I hope to live to see that the number of people who use their mind, not who use their bullets, decide that enough is enough. Let's sit down and talk serious business and become not only a blessing for the Jew or a blessing for the Palestinian, but a blessing for the whole world. Imagine Jerusalem becoming the city of peace, where both communities, whoever wants to pray to God, let him go and pray to God. I don't think God is in need of your prayer or my prayers. Does he? Does God need us? Or are we not exploiting him towards our different political and other ends and interests? Time to stop this nonsense. This is my message. This is how I view the present and how I project to the future, my dear Akmaral. And I
Thank
hope
you.
we live to see it.
Thank you. Thank you. Inshallah, we will all see that beautiful picture now you described for us. And also, I'm absolutely sure that your personal contribution to the peacemaking will never be forgotten. I'm sure, absolutely. Thank you so much for this meeting, Your Grace.
Thank you.
Your Grace.
Thank you
we will
for
stay
giving
in
me the
touch.
time. Let's look to the day when Putin and Trump would meet over issues of peace and reconciliation. Perhaps both can contribute to putting an end to what injures the body and the spirit of people here and there in our small planet called Earth.
All the humanity is tired already from the wars and conflicts. Of course, we need peace. We need peace. We need peace and stability, and to live happily. How you say it, not coexist, but co-live with each other side by side. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, and bless you.
Bless you.